All of us have desires, and it is a great delight when the things that we desire come to pass, when we desire that they happen. But what happens when you have to wait? When what you desire is so strong and there is almost no timeline to it because you do not have control over when that can happen or not, and you wait. What happens when you have to wait not 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, but up to 10 years for what is a really strong desire? This is what we speak about today. Having to see someone's desire get waited for so long, but eventually coming to pass. My name is Mbasti Jesse, and this is the Pathfinder. I welcome you to this week's edition of I Overcame with the Pathfinder. I am, of course, your Pathfinder. When we return, we'll get to speak to this person who is, in this regard, the waiter, who has gotten the thing that they have desired for over 10 years. So stay tuned, do not go anywhere. This is going to be very interesting and inspiring. Welcome back. This is the Pathfinder, and this is an episode on I Overcame with the Pathfinder. Again, my name is Mbasti Jesse, and today we're speaking about waiting on I Overcame. Now, usually when we get married, at the marriage ceremony, part of the prayer request or the pronouncement over the couple would be that in 9 months, we will come to celebrate, right? And we all say amen to that. And you know, when the journey begins, you begin to see people asking, how far? How far? When they see the woman, they're double checking to see, if there is a bump growing, or it's an expectation when it comes to getting married. And this expectation doesn't only come from those who are the outside, but for the most, it's also the desire for also the couple after they get married, especially if it's taken a process for you to get there and you don't marry young, whatever the case may be, whether young or old. Now, today I speak with a certain couple. This couple had to wait 10 years before they got blessed with the fruit of the womb, as we put it. And so what they will be sharing today is how you, who is listening, who has been waiting, can be encouraged and take something of the story and see that no matter how long you wait for, one day the desired will come to fruition or manifestation. And so please help me welcome my guest today. I begin with the man, or the husband, or the father, the proud father of this treasure, Manus Akpanke. I hope I got that second right.
You did.
So Manus is he's a music producer, he's a recording artist, he's a music coach, music consultant, he's a music everything. When it comes to music, it's music, everything music. Manus. So you see, this is the thing I say about being spontaneous. Because now that I'm talking music, you will have to sing. Right?
No way.
Maybe not now, but later. Maybe not now, but later. But yes, Manus is everything music. He's a music coach. When I first met Manus, music was what brought us together.
Yeah, that's true.
So yes, that's what Manus does. And so good to have you here. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here.
Thank you.
To share your testimony, to share your journey and share your story. This is profound.
Thank you, Mbati.
And I'm delighted to be the one doing this.
Thank you. I'm not sure why, but my heart is pounding like.
Don't worry. Parabole, as they say. But it's good. It's huge. What God has done for you, it's huge. It's worth
huge.
The pounding of the heart.
I know, right?
It's worth the pounding of the heart.
I know.
So, how are you? First of all, how have you been?
I'm great. I'm doing very well. I couldn't be better, right?
How's father?
I don't know.
You don't know?
You see that green on my face? That's all you get.
That's the answer.
That's all you get.
I don't know, man. I can't put it in words.
I mean, make whatever you want out of it.
Out of that green. Just
really.
Take it as the response.
That's all. That's all I have for you.
But
it's beautiful. Trust me, it's beautiful.
So I'm beginning to speak with you. Of course, later we'll get to see this gift of ours and we'll get to meet the missus.
Yeah.
But let me begin with you as a man. So first off, a man who became a husband and is now a father. But share with me what that journey was. Of course, let's begin with your love life. You see this sister of mine, the court strikes, and just walk us through the journey of your relationship briefly and on to getting into marriage, and what especially what the desire was as it came to, of course at the time, as it came to bearing children.
Okay, thank you again, Basity,
Thank you.
for having me, for having us here. Well, this is about the first time I'm going to be talking about this officially. We just speak about it in bits
Am I not blessed?
here and there. Our relationship has been, from the word go, there were signs that our relationship was not normal. In the sense that the hand of the Lord, the hand of God, for me to, if I say the hand of the Lord, just like this is what I say, pastor.
God, okay.
The hand of God, it was obvious that God was involved in our relationship from the beginning. So, I mean, we started dating, and then after a few months, we were having some issues, and I went to God and I was trying to talk to God about it. And God asked me, "Did you tell me you were going into a relationship?"
Wow.
I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I came to tell you as a son, I came to complain that you need to fix." He said, "But I'm not aware you're in a relationship. Did you tell me?"
Wow.
So, while we're trying to work things around, in fact, we're even making attempts to get married in that first year.
So God told you that and you went on.
I'm telling you, and then we broke up for 1 year. We broke up for 1 year. So that was God trying to take his place, gain his rightful place in the relationship. And it had to be him who would bring us together. It had to be him who would bring form to that relationship. Yeah, because all that there was to it in the first place was just me liking this girl liking me, and we're just, and then he had to break us up we broke up for a year. We got back together. We broke up in 2012 January.
Okay.
And we got back together 2013 January. Yeah. So I mean, throughout this period, I knew she was the one. She knew I was the one, but it just seemed like nothing was going to happen.
Wow.
But it's always good to have someone you're answerable to. So
Right.
we have our senior pastor,
Okay.
who is of course our mentor, who I was constantly talking to. He'll be outside the country, he'll just call me. "Hey, man of God, did you say Joy is your wife?" I said, "Sir, I really think." He said, "Okay, no problem. I just called to ask."
That's all.
That's all. I don't know what he was doing in the background till today. I don't know.
Wow.
But things were happening, and then at some point, I just fast forward. We got back together a year after, and then
After letting God, that is.
Exactly.
After doing it man's way.
and then and then we came back
Very
and
good.
we let God put everything back together.
Wow.
And then we got married a few months after. So I mean, we got married. We had always wanted to just enjoy ourselves. We're always told that when kids come, the dynamics will change, everything will change. You need to enjoy yourself now, get all that you can get, and all of that. And so we decided, okay, let's wait for 2 years.
Okay.
So first year went by, and then second year came, and then I think it was about that second year that so we have in our church we have someone who is in charge of medicals for the Marriage Institute. Okay. So whether for premaritals or for postmaritals, he's the one who gets to do all the supervise all the checks, all the tests and everything, and he just keeps in touch with you. with the couple just to know how they're doing, medically and all of that. So he's a very jovial guy. So he just came to, I think we're together. He just came to us and they said, "You should give us children now. What's stopping you people?" We're in church. We're like, "Yeah, no, we're just chilling. We're just chilling." He said, "Are you sure?" He said, "That you people have not been there." We say, "Why not?" Well, he said, "We should go and check."
Okay.
We're like, so we were, but then I think we still ignored.
And then weren't ready.
Yeah, and then he came back. I think a year later or so.
Oh wow.
He comes back and he said, "Have you guys checked?" We're like, "No." He said, "Go and check." So we're like, okay. So reluctantly, we go. We of course we made findings to know, okay, so what hospital is good. So we went to one, and then we checked, and everything seemed okay. Her tubes were okay. I was fine, and everything. So we just continued our lives. And then another year went by. So at this point,
3 years now.
Yes. At this
So
point,
the 2 years honeymoon had elapsed.
And then reality was beginning to set in.
Right.
Like, okay. No worries. I mean, people, so let's just go again.
Let's see.
So I think we waited again, and then it's 4 years. Okay, so this thing is becoming a concern. And at this point, this doctor man I'm talking about, he also was like, okay, so I'm becoming worried too. You guys should go and do this. So I think he wrote down a certain kind of tests, specific tests we should go run. Then we went and ran those tests and everything, and it was confirmed that we were fine. And then I think it was by the 5th year, we're now encouraged to do the IUI or something like that. Okay. It's like the younger brother of IVF.
Younger brother, yes.
Yeah. So, but by this time, my wife had done several things. She has some of them were excruciatingly painful. She had. And
so this is year 5.
Yeah. So we did the IUI, and all of that. Nothing came of it. And then there was year 6. I think it was the year 6 we now went and tried the first IVF. I can't really remember if it was year 6 or year 7. But we did the first IVF. By the way, the amount of monies I was spending, oh my God.
Of course.
So we did, after the first IVF, I mean, I watched I saw what my wife went through. And I'm like, no, I can't have her go through this again. It was too much.
This was year 6.
This was, I think, maybe 6 or 7. Yeah, 6. This was 6. Eventually, we had, I think, about 3 IVFs or so.
Are you saying you had 3 failed IVFs?
Yes. Wow. By the time we were at year 8, so let's say 2020. 2021, I think. 2020, 2021. 2021 was horrible. Because at this point, reality it was not, at this point,
wasn't it maybe
no. It was obvious. It was obvious that something was wrong, but the problem, it was even more heart-wrenging not knowing what the problem was. It was defiling all medicals.
Right.
And we prayed all the prayer. We're all from our pastors were praying, our parents were praying, we were praying, our friends were praying, everyone was praying, but nothing was just happening. And my wife would slip in and out of depression. So that was it for me. So at that point, I had to tell her, I said, look, because she would say, babe, I want to give you children. I want to give you children. And I would tell her, I said, look, I want children quite all right, but you see, those children are not as important to me as you. I need you in your right mind. I need you to be fine. I need you to stay with me. It wasn't easy.
Sorry to cut you short. What you're even saying is, aside, of course, which we'll speak about, the pressures of you even just wanting to be a father. Aside that, a major breaking point for you was to see your wife go through what she went
breaking down, like she was. It wasn't a good sight.
Wow.
So at this point, I didn't care about a child anymore. I just wanted my wife to be fine. But of course, she wanted the child to make her fine.
So no child,
No fine.
no fine. No child, no fine. For both of you, that is because
Honestly,
it protects you.
yeah. But then I had to be strong. I mean, this was also taking a toll on me. But I mean, I would go behind the curtains and cry. And I would stay up at night. I would just, I'm looking at her while she's sleeping, and I'm crying, and I'm praying, and I'm crying, and I'm saying, Lord, please, not for me, just for her. Please, can you just do this for her?
I have a lot of questions to ask. Questions around you being a person of faith, walking with God. And I know, especially for people who walk with God, now you're wondering, what's this silence? Why? There's nothing you cannot do. Kilode. Why? Like, and it's almost like it's just shh, like what you're saying.
White noise.
White noise. So we will talk about these things.
Sure.
When we return, we'll speak a little more.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we'll have the wife
jump in.
Yes. And our precious little one. So stay tuned. This is still the Pathfinder, and this is I Overcame. This is already pretty interesting. And do not go anywhere. Make sure you join the conversation as well. We'll be right back. Back. This is still the Pathfinder, and today the show is I Overcame with the Pathfinder. But we hear the story of the family of Mr. and Mrs. Manus Akpanke. Akpanke, I got that. I must get it. Sharing how they waited for 10 years before they received their blessing of the fruit of the womb. And of course, if you've been listening, we have gotten to year 8?
Yeah.
Well, year 8,
year
right?
7.
Year 7. So we take it up from here.
I had to go to my pastor. I'm like, I can't take this anymore. My wife, I'm losing my wife. And he says, bring her. So we went to my pastor's place. He's sitting down in the sitting room, and my wife and his wife is sitting there. And then before we started saying anything, the wife just said, hold on. Before we even continue, Manus, how are you? Oh God. I broke down.
Oh my goodness.
Cried my life out.
Oh my goodness.
And then she said that she just sensed in her spirit that I had been
bearing the weight.
Yeah. And because of course I had to be a man. I had to be there for my wife. If she was down, I couldn't be down. And because she was down for the most part,
right.
I had to be up for the most part. I mean, in spite of how I felt and what I was going through, I had to keep up appearances. But that moment, I don't know what just broke me. And I cried, and my pastor came and held me. And he said, just go ahead, let it all out.
Right.
And I did. And then eventually, we spoke with my wife and, counseled us and all of that. And then we're back again to, yeah. And then, but trust me, all of this while, we didn't doubt God for a day.
How did you do that? Of course.
Now, I'm a worship leader.
Right.
And one of my responsibilities is to keep people's faith alive, is to give people hope, is to bring an awareness of God's nearness to people constantly. And I cannot be preaching that message and not be living it. And so I had to be a man of faith.
Wow.
I had to be a man who believed that God was aware of what I was going through.
Own encouragement.
Yeah. So I would tell my wife, I said, babe, God is aware.
Amen.
And that's what that matters.
Amen.
If he was not aware that we're going through this, then we'll be worried. And she would look at me and I'm like, do you know how I know God is aware? I said, did we ask him for money last week while we're asking for a child? She said, yes. Did he give us the money? Yes. So we asked for 2 things or 3 things. He answered others, but that one has not been answered. It just means he's aware. So it's not possible that he suddenly slept off at the moment we're mentioning that particular issue. I said, so he's aware. And then she would come alive, and one beautiful thing was the way she would celebrate everybody that had a baby. That one I will never get to understand how. Those period, she would ask me, but what if we end up not having children? And I tell her, it's not possible. It's not possible. And she says, why? I says, because number one, the moment we get married, oh God. Okay, it's like I was waiting to say this later, but I have to say it right here.
Go ahead.
The worst thing that can happen to any human is to go through life without the voice of God, without hearing the voice of God. You would live a life without direction, without sense of purpose. You see, from the moment we got married, God told me the names of my children. He took me to scriptures. I didn't know it was okay. Go to Daniel chapter this. Go to there and said that this is the name of your son, and this is the reason why he would bear that name. And so I'll tell her, I said, God couldn't have possibly, told us so early the names of our children, and we have a track record of hearing the voice of God.
That's right.
Do you understand? So it's not like it's trial and error. We know when God speaks.
Right.
And we know that at this moment, God had spoken. So I was trying to say earlier that we have a lot of people who have lived with us.
Yes.
And all of that. And some of them they leave our house to go get married. And 2 months later, Daddy,
we're expecting.
We are going to have a baby. And we're like, Mommy, oh my God, we're happy and everything. And our friends who we pray together and we lounge together.
You got married before?
Yeah, of course. Say, guys, man, we're expecting. Oh my God. And so small children like this, everybody was just, and it was, and then I'll look at my wife. So one, we kept showing up. You would
discourage.
We were never missing.
Right.
We were never missing. We would never look for us. We were always there. We were always showing up. You see us in church. You see us in the place of service. And that's the second thing I was going to say. God does not do well with void. The devil also does not do well with void, or rather, the devil does very well with void. He knows how to take advantage. Jesus was talking about in scriptures. Jesus was talking about. He said, when you conduct deliverance on a man and take off 7 demons from one demon from him, you have to quickly fill that void. Otherwise, that one demon will go bring 7.
Yes.
So it's the reason why you never see. Never. We had that void. We had that space. We had that emptiness. That was created by the desire of a child. Yes. But we filled it up with service. Beautiful. We filled it up with service. No, there was no room for the devil to mess with our heads. That's why I say we kept showing up. You were never missing.
This is the fight of faith.
I'm telling you, the only thing that we had to fight with was being human.
That is the fight.
Every now and then, you would have to just deal with certain realities.
True.
We had to do another IVF last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was after 3 failed IVFs.
Yeah, and then we had decided not to try again. So we went
So this was
went off IVF for almost 2 years.
Yes.
So since before lockdown.
That's 2020.
Was it before lockdown or during lockdown? So only after lockdown, I can't remember. But that year was the last time we had attempted, and it was just after that last attempt that my wife was slipping in and out of depression. That's when I said,
So
okay.
for like 2 years.
Yeah. So we're speaking with someone who we respect very, very much, and the person said, let's talk to let's talk to this doctor.
Okay.
And then he picks up his phone and calls his doctor and said, I'm sending my son and his wife to you. Blah 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 blah. Give me his number. And I went, oh, I didn't tell you that the hospital where we had done all the failed IVFs, we're just wondering what is happening. Okay, we decided to go see the doctor. Ma,
Alpha.
she just said, look, madam, you can never get pregnant. Oh, please, you can.
Real?
I'm like, I don't understand. He said, no, you can never get pregnant. You can never get pregnant. Why? What's the problem? People are not finding anything wrong. It's not like, what is the... So that was when my wife went into depression. Of course.
I mean, the power of words.
Yeah. That's, and so going to see this doctor now was, honestly, it was just to fulfill our righteousness, because this person...
Let's just try again.
This person who we respect very much...
And they offered.
Had made this, had made this... so, I mean, let's go. So we went.
Wow.
And then we saw the person. And then we told the person our history.
Right.
He now looked at us, he now said, with man, things might be impossible. But with God, all things are possible. That's what the man said to us. That's what the doctor said to us. And all of a sudden, it just felt like, okay, this thing is possible. So he said, look, you know what? I'm going to put you guys on some medication and stuff. And then let's try this IVF again. He said, look, it will work.
Power of words. I just need to punch that in.
Tell you.
So one person spoke and said you couldn't have it.
And then another person
led you into depression.
Speaks to
then
counter.
Another person says something to counter. And all of a sudden you're hopeful again.
Yeah. Then went back home. Okay, are we ready to do this? Yeah, okay. Do we even have the funds to do this? Are we ready to put in? So, man, let's go. But trust me.
Yes.
That period, it was like a 1 year period. It was like a 9 months plus period. The entire period.
For the treatment?
No. I mean, between when the treatment started and when everything happened, when the baby came and all of that, were probably more dreadful than the years before for me.
I get it.
Because number one, okay, I'm about to spend more money. Number two, what if this thing does not work? Okay, by the time she even took in, okay, what if she has a miscarriage? Okay, what if... So the devil fought us from every side. The fear. I mean, even when the baby was born, there was still the fear of what if... I had to wake up at night every time to go and watch. Is she still breathing? Is she
like this that we've waited for all our lives. But I want to hear the story of how you people discovered before we bring wifey in and the baby. What was it like? What goes wrong? Give us the gist.
So IVF is done, and we have to wait for a period of 2 weeks before going to
get checked.
To get checked.
This was while you went on your retreat?
This was, yeah. So we're back from the retreat, and a few days later, let's go and check. First, we're very kind of hesitant because
you don't want to be disappointed again.
I mean, we've been there out a number of times, and so, I mean, let's go. So we had to go, and we checked, And then they said, please go see the doctor in consulting room 1 or something like that. So we went in, sat down. My wife is sitting there.
It feels to me like I'm in that waiting room right now
And then
to get the news.
Then the doctor said, okay, Joy Manus, okay, I have your result here, but I need to call the lab and be sure that this is valid. Okay, that was not sounding nice. Because I mean, if it's good news, you tell us already, right? So why do you have to confirm? And then he says, just a minute. Then he picks up the intercom. Oh yeah, this doctor. Yeah. So I have before me result for. I want you to.
Let me stop you here, because somehow there's a part of me that wants Joy to be here.
I almost told you that. I almost said, right? Can we bring her up?
Right now we're about to bring the second person who completes the story, and actually the person who crowns it all up, which is the gift of this child. And we are going to hear her own part of the story and her own journey, and just walk through this with her. So please help me welcome Mrs. Joy Akpanke and our precious baby, Elsie. So let me also just update you. She's been seated waiting to come here, and I've been listening to her daddy's voice and has been smiling
in her sleep.
She's been sleeping, but she's been smiling.
Sleeping and smiling.
Hi Joy, so good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you for listening and being patient, listening to, of course, husbandman. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you
on
very much.
This delight. It is very important that we hear your own part of, what that phase was for you emotionally. But before we get to asking you your own questions, I am Manus, you can continue. Let's catch Joy's reaction, because she has to answer this as well.
So, so the doctor says, so he's talking with the people in the lab, and then he says, are you sure? Are you sure? You're 100% sure this?
That's what he kept saying.
Yes, this result is correct.
So this is the doctor that you people had been seeing?
No. This was just the person who was going to tell us our results.
Okay. So why did he want to be?
I don't know.
Maybe he had your history, of course, or something, perhaps.
No, I'm not even sure, because we had to now tell him right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But he just wanted to be Shosha.
Exactly. So when they were done, so he drops the phone. And then he says, so Mr. and Mrs. Manus, I have your result here. He had this look on his face like, what's this guy's name? Who wants to be Frank? And then he says, so I just want to let you know that the results came in, and it was positive.
See me like, okay, like I'm giddy, like I want to hear.
We're like, and it was positive.
You said what?
Is that exactly right? I said what? I said positive. So, before now, personally, I'd always thought when I hear the news, I'm going to jump, I will roll on the floor.
Then you become sober.
And then I just turned and looked at my wife, and my wife was really crying.
What was that moment like for you, Joy? Like, what was going through your mind?
The truth is, when at the point he said, okay, let me call the lab again, at that point I'm like,
it's happening again.
Please just say it already, let's go. That was it for me. I was like, it's negative again. I didn't want to come here before. It just started, that was like a trigger rush just started again. I was already waiting, just say it already. And the guy was taking his time.
As in, like, why?
Honestly, I'm not sure why.
Like, those few seconds were like 1 hour. As in, it was so long. Before he now said, it's positive, you're pregnant.
Wait, what?
I couldn't help it, but I just broke down. I just started crying. I just started crying. I thought I will shout, I will jump. I just started crying. I cried till I left the hospital that day. I kept crying. That was all I could do.
What did you do, Manus?
I couldn't talk.
How were you people in the car driving back home?
Quiet.
Quiet.
I can imagine.
Nobody was saying anything.
Wow.
Nobody was saying anything. We were quiet. It was, scriptures were just fulfilled. When the Lord turned again the captivity, it was too good to be true. I was just trying.
Dumbfounded, like.
We got home. Nobody could say anything. It was unbelievable.
At what point did you realize, like, at what point did you people react to the news the way we would expect reacting would be?
In all honesty, I have not been able to react.
That's why you're still saying, how do you feel? Like, I don't know.
I have not been able to
It's
react
still,
because
we were like them that dreamed.
Yeah,
That
it
kind
still
of
feels
thing.
like a dream.
Surreal.
It's still like even up to now.
Yes.
I've given birth to my
Yes.
daughter.
Yes.
My daughter.
Your what? Your daughter.
It feels like a dream. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh wait, yeah,
I'm a
a
mother.
mother. See, even throughout my pregnancy, sometimes I forget I'm pregnant.
Wow.
I literally forget
Wow.
I'm pregnant. When I turn, I'm like, oh,
There's something
pregnant.
I can't lay.
There's
Yes.
a bump here. It's up to now. It still feels like a dream.
Let me hear your story. At what point did it become a burden in the course of the years?
Okay, it became a burden just before the first IVF
Okay.
when we all went for tests, and I was really waiting to hear that something was wrong, because so why am I not taking in?
Right.
Why am I not getting pregnant? Then we go for the first set of tests and they come, you're okay, your husband is okay. Just keep trying. That's what they say. Just keep trying. Then we go for the first IUI. We come out and it didn't work.
So every time that happened, it was negative. It's
Yep.
not like you ever got. This was your first positive pregnancy test.
First positive
trust me,
ever.
at some point we're praying for
that-
a miscarriage.
Exactly.
Ah.
Okay, can I just get pregnant?
Let me just
That's why I know that I'm a
and let
human
me
being.
know that at least
I
I
can carry.
Exactly.
I
Let me
didn't
know
mention
that.
I didn't mention the other hospital we went to in Area 11 side.
From Joy's face, I can tell what happened.
I mean, we
The
we
things they
went
gave
to
me to
hospital.
drink.
Oh my God.
The things they
Some slimy stuff.
I'm telling you, slimy. They said they checking
From a hospital?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh
They
wow.
said that in that place they treat
They treat
you treat
herbally.
yeah
and,
with they treat, you see cancer patients around, and
Okay,
this one
so it's like
they
a
feel-
natural.
yeah they
therapy.
use, yeah, exactly. So they gave me things. You see our refrigerator, you just see.
Oh my
God.
I felt for him that period.
And it was you
Because-
taking it this time?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
wow.
him that was
Me.
taking almost everything. What they gave me was just little or nothing, because they didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So they just gave him something. Okay, you know what? Let's face the man this time around. Let's see and everything. After everything, still no show.
Okay.
Still no show.
Okay.
So
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. We can talk about this forever. Like there's so much to get out of this. But when we return, we'll be speaking to both of you, of course, but we'll focus on Joy and hear how you could deal with, how you could hold on, experiencing depression, the ups and the downs, the high and the lows, and somehow how you could just still hold on in faith and come to this place of fruition. We'll be right back. It is still the Pathfinder I Overcame right here, and we're sharing the story of Mr. and Mrs. Manus Akpanke and this gift that they have received of, you heard that, after 10 years of marriage. Don't go nowhere. Welcome back. This is still the Pathfinder, and it is I Overcame. And I still have Mr. and Mrs. Manus and Joy Akpanke in the studio with the reason why we all are here. Hello, LC Manus Akpanke. That's
That's
her
right.
name,
That's right.
Come on now.
You got it right.
Now, We have been speaking about this baby came 10 years after waiting for the fruit of the womb, as we put it. And we've spoken to Manus extensively, and we just want to hear from the mother of the baby. He mentioned that you had gone through depression a number of times. How long were you in that phase for, first of all?
Well, I would say a couple of months.
Okay.
Just a couple of months. Because the truth is, I really had to talk to myself. It got to a point I had to start listening. I stopped listening and I slipped into depression.
So I was even going to ask, what do you think was the main thing that threw you into that phase?
I stopped listening. I just allowed my fear take over me. I was tired. I became tired. I just stopped listening to the positiveness around me. When my husband talk, I go, are you done? It was that bad. Are you done? You say it all the time.
And we're still here.
Exactly. So I actually just stopped listening. But one interesting thing was that I knew I did not have a plan B. As in, I know. I knew I did not have a plan B.
Like what else?
It was God, and it's still God. I didn't have a plan B, but at that point, sometimes I feel that maybe it was just necessary for me to have just, maybe it was good, rather. Just good. I actually just allowed myself breathe, to just go through that phase.
Right.
To just stop, to just take a break. But in the process of now taking the break, it was now depression. Because I stopped listening to everybody talking, everybody saying, I had a dream about you and I saw you with your baby.
People have been dreaming for over 7 years or 8 years. I mean,
okay, thank you. or is it the small girl that can talk to me on a normal day will come and say, oh, Mrs. Manus, please, sorry. I just want to ask you, have you done these tests? It got to a point I stopped answering. Anytime they come and they go, have you done this? Have you done that? I will go, no. Because I just want to hear what they want to say. Because I was tired of telling them, yes, I have done
There's
everything.
we have not done.
There is nothing I have not done. Nothing. So I will just go, no.
Or the ones that were called to pray for you. It's much more.
More.
Let me not say.
We get the point.
Put your hand on your tummy
Really?
as I pray. Father,
and they probably do it from a good place, but
Exactly.
maybe some.
Yes.
Maybe some.
Yes.
And some will see me with their baby bump. Oh no, I want to hug you. Come and hug me face. Let your tummy
and
rub
I think this is
so
one
that
thing.
my anointing will
the
rub off on
anointing
you.
can rub off on you.
And I think this is one thing that maybe we need to speak about. I know that we're in want for time, but sometimes truly we feel like we're doing these things from a place of passion or concern, and we have no idea the effect it is having on the person who is going through.
A lot of people are so insensitive.
Very insensitive.
And we think it's sensitivity or not fairness. We don't know.
We have our parents. I have my mom. She has her dad. I'm the last child amongst 9.
Wow.
I have 8. I have 8 older brothers. I have elder brothers I have an elder brother that is a bishop with churches across South Africa.
What prayers
do you understand?
Have I not received?
I have all of these people in my life.
Right.
But you see, only I think just one of my elder brothers, our second born, who one time just said, look, Manus, I've been struggling with this thing for a long time. You know, in our family, we don't necessarily poke nose. We love each other, we pray for each other, but we don't get into each other's personal business if you don't let us in.
Nice.
You see, but Manus, I'm just worried. I'm so sorry. It has taken me close to 1 year or over a year to be able to some of this courage. This second born last
apologizing for being concerned, and
that's the same thing my mother-in-law did. The day she wanted to talk to us about it.
Wow.
She kept apologizing from the beginning.
Like, I'm sorry, I have to do this.
And permit me to say, I have the best in-law anybody could ask for.
God bless you, mommy.
She will encourage me. She will pray for me. She will tell me, Joy, I know how you're feeling, but know that it is only God that gives children. So don't let it get to you.
Please, in-laws, I beg, take this one home.
She just the best. No pressure, no nothing. She kept praying for me, kept encouraging me.
Oh, wow.
Every time I see her, kept encouraging me.
Now, because for want of time, there's just so much to talk about. But I'm trying. I'm asking this question about how you got out of depression so that people who are where you have been would know how to deal.
Okay.
How did you deal? How did you decide, okay, no, I'm not going to, number one, I don't have the child. Number two, I'm now dying under my emotions. How did you deal with that?
So after a while, after say like 2 months, I had to talk to myself. I had to sit me down and say, Joy, enough is enough. You need to come out of this. As in, you need to get out of this. My husband did not give up on me either.
Oh,
even if sometimes he's talking to me, I tell him, leave me alone. As in,
literally just go. Stay away. Oh.
He will not. He will remain there. He will keep talking. He will keep believing.
So the power of a supportive partner.
Yes.
Very vital.
Yes. So I had to really talk to myself. I had to talk myself out of it. I had to pray myself out of it. Really pray myself. And after I saw my mentor, the father in the Lord, he that day was really funny, because when he says 1, I will say 5 back.
Because you wanted closure too. You wanted answers.
Yes.
Yes. That's
the way she was responding to me. I was talking like, it's him.
Calm down, no.
Papa, you're talking to. Like,
I remember saying,
when you're at the place where there's nothing to lose
let
anymore.
her express herself.
Oh,
then after everything, I will tell him that, Daddy, I know it is God. I know. Don't get me wrong. I know the scripture says, and I believe.
But it doesn't change the fact. That's it.
But why, and all of that. So really, I had to pray and talk to myself, and took a while, and I gradually got out of it.
That's beautiful. So talking about why, do you feel like God has answered your why question?
well,
or you don't even need to answer anymore, Seth, because I know.
So I know that really at the end of the day, God doesn't owe us an explanation. So we can ask all the questions there are to ask. You see, He's sovereign. If only we understand what that word means, for one to be sovereign. He is God Almighty. He doesn't owe anybody an explanation. We can ask all we want. At the end of the day, you have to settle with yourself.
And with His trust and love, I think. Like, just know that He's
working it out
for your good.
So, one very interesting scripture for me that I have lived with is the scripture where Jesus was faced with this blind man. And then he was about to pray for the man, and the disciples asked Jesus, please, who sinned? I mean, for this to have happened to this man, he's been blind from birth.
That's an answer.
Yeah. Is it his father?
Honestly.
Or who sinned? And Jesus said, nobody, nothing. I mean,
just that God,
he was just like that, so that I will heal him today, so that you people can glorify God. That's all. And I'm like,
wow. We're truly pencils in the hand of the maker.
True.
I'm like, wow. And then
here it is.
Yeah, and then my prayer became, Lord, you are a businessman. You make profit from this kind of issues. I want to benefit from this. I know that, of course, at the end of the day, you want to get glory from this. You say, whatever that there is to benefit from this, I want.
and here is your benefit.
I'm telling you.
How does it feel post 10 years? Let me just ask you.
Honestly, I've forgotten about the weight. Seeing her every morning and the way she smiles, oh my God, it melts my heart.
My heart is melting.
She makes me forget about everything that happened, about the whole waiting period and everything. She's really a blessing. I call her my blessing.
Thank you so much
ultimately,
for being here. Yes.
Ultimately,
and join it with your final words.
Yeah, ultimately, I must say that all of this has drawn us closer to God.
Yeah.
if this is what it was for, then it was worth it.
It was worth it.
Yes.
Whoosh.
It was.
I like this part.
We know God more. We understand His will more. We understand His plans for our lives more.
Yeah.
It is clearer.
And that's
I
the
mean,
why. If
yeah.
I'll be honest,
Really.
that's some closure.
Really, yeah, and we know that she's a covenant child. We know that she's not a normal
I
child.
know that too.
You know, and so in closing, I mean, what I would say to anyone out there is, number one, find God in your situation. Make sure that the devil is not the one who is telling you what you're going through, because he has a way of creating what is not there. He has a way of bringing out what is not there from what is there. You know, make sure you find God in the situation. Make sure, and then He will tell you why you're going through why you're going through what you're going through, and that's one. Number two, make sure that in your time of waiting, you are not wanting. Don't be found wanting. Never be missing. You know, show up all of the time. Make sure you fill up that vacuum with something positive. For us, it was with service.
Right.
We're always showing up. Make sure you feel the devil will always amplify your vacuum and make nonsense out of it. Be sure to fill that vacuum with something positive. Surround yourself with positive people, people who will speak positivity to you, people who will not run you down, you know, but people who would help. I mean, it was when the baby was born that we actually knew how many people were waiting. People who she had not spoken with for like 10 years, 15 years. We're saying, oh, finally, God has heard our prayer. We're like, seriously?
I've been praying for
So
you.
you
And I
knew.
go, wow.
You know,
Wow.
surround yourself, you know, with people who will take time to pray for you more than they will take to discuss about you. You know, yeah.
Joy, let's hear yours quickly.
Find God in all situations. But the truth is, if you don't know God for yourself, there is no way you can find God.
Yourself.
So know God for you. My mom will always say salvation is personal. It's true. So everybody, you're going through a waiting period, you're waiting for something, try and know God for yourself, because that is when you will need Him the most. What you have known, that's when it will all come into manifestation.
That's right. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having
encouraging
us.
others. Thank you for this blessing that you are.
Thank you for having Elsie.
Thank you, Elsie, for being. Look, I mean.
Elsie, come to the camera.
So this is, you
While
see,
they're talking.
just see that. You can tell what's going on here, right? For everyone, thank you so much for being part of the show today. It's time that we call it a day. Remember that we'll be back here, the Pathfinder. I overcame, Ask the Pathfinder, True Stories with the Pathfinder, right here with you on the Pathfinder show. God bless you. Remember, you can reach us on the our platforms. That's using the information on the screen, our email, our phone number. If you have any stories you'd love to share, if you need counseling, any form and in any way, please do well to reach out to us, to me, to the Pathfinder. God bless you. See you around. Take care and ensure that you remain in love. God bless you. Cheers. In the end,
Glory.
and that's it.
In the end, glory.